Hi, this is Jimbo with Altcoin Buzz. Thank you very much for tuning back in for another TA segment on today, the 14th of December. In today's video, guys, we're going to have a look at Bitcoin. We're going to go across the time frames as we normally do and see if we can determine anything from them. I want to glance my eyes over the BTC longs chart, which is showing something it's never shown before. We're also going to take a look at Tomo, Enjin, and Matic. If that sounds interesting to you guys, make sure that you stick around for the video. And if you wait to the end, you're going to hear all the full details regarding our current crypto tag giveaway, which I'm sure you won't want to miss, how to participate. Alright guys, so let's start here with a Bitcoin daily as we normally do. And if you are new to the channel and you haven't seen our videos before, we've got a couple of sets of lines drawn on here. Let's get away a couple of the indicators for a moment and just have a look. We have our blue falling wedge pattern that we've been monitoring, and we also have these two red support resistance lines. They are obviously, as we're below them, currently acting as resistance, but we keep them on the chart just in case we do see a spring out of this blue wedge pattern and see if we can test them. We did come up and test this one. As you can see, we were rejected, broke back down, and when we broke it as support here, it was quite violent. So I still think these lines are quite pertinent moving into the future. I intend to keep them on there because as all of you do, I'm sure I want to see Bitcoin go up, and when it does, I think these lines are going to become quite important. Normally I'd have the 200 moving average on there. At the moment I've taken that off, but I can tell you that we are well and truly below that. That's somewhere in the region of this red straight resistance line at the moment. So I've taken it off just to overlay the volume for a moment so that we can have a look at that as well. I think it's interesting to see that we've got a clear volume decline ever since this spike. The volume has been declining and declining and declining. And this is usually a sign that there could be a breakout to come. Either way, we don't know until it breaks out, as I continue to let you guys know on the channel. This is just about trying to locate the interesting moments in the charting history, rather than just straight up trying to guess which way it's going to go. What we're going to try and do is find those areas of interest, and we're going to monitor them and see if we can use the indicators to give us a better idea of which way it might go, rather than just a predetermined guess. Right. So we've bounced off, we've seen support off the bottom of the wedge, come back up, tested it once, and now we continue to travel along down underneath this resistance line. Not seeing a lot of healthy signs on the daily chart at the moment, I've got to say. We are still below the 7 exponential moving average and a long way below the 50 daily moving exponential average, and you can see we're setting a bit of a red candle here today, down almost 3%, or just about 3% at 7,037. 7,000 seems to be a really crucial level right now, not just psychologically, but charting wise as well. You can see we did have a bottom here back on the 4th of December, which was around about the 7,000 level, 780. So we're just below that at the moment. It'd be interesting to see if we close below that candle wick today. I'd suggest that if we did close below that 780 mark, sorry, the 7,080 mark, that I think we could see a continuation of this downwards movement over the rest of the weekend. I think that would be pretty fair to say, as we haven't seen any clear support come in and act. Another interesting point to note would be here at 6,800, let's call it 80, in that region where we had these two wicks closed, sorry, the bodies of the candles there close, 6, 8, 8, 9 it's showing here, somewhere around that region. Remember, it's not always art, you know, it's not perfect art. We watch it and see how it develops, but I think that might be an area certainly worth watching. Because if we were to break down much further, that would be our next clear, hopeful area of support. And I think we can even overlay, perhaps. Let's put a little horizontal on there to represent that. That's not going to be quite as long-lasting as our red and blue lines. It's less significant. But I will be keeping an eye on this level, because I think if we break that with any clear volume, that's going to be a continuation from that line as well, I would believe, and would very likely see us go on to test our bottom support line of this wedge once again. Could be anywhere as low as, you know, this is the 6,000 level. Let's hope we don't get down that far, but I can tell you guys that if we were to break down that low, I would be trying to enter some positions, at least trying to accumulate a little bit more Bitcoin Of course, remember, that's just my strategy. I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I giving you financial advice. I'm just showing you guys how I look at the charts, what I do, what I look for, and how I identify interesting areas. Varied levels of success, as I always say, not always perfect, but I'm giving it a good try, and it seems to be working for me. So, okay, so let's jump down a time frame and go on to the... Oh, before I do that, actually, let's just make a note of this, that our stochastic RSI on the daily has seen a rejection. It looked like we had our leading indicator looking to cross. We've set the red candle today, and that has been rejected. Now, this is a live trading indicator, so if we did see this rebound back up and go to green, we'd very likely see that blue cross, but at the moment I'm not seeing any healthy signs of that happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive down a time frame. We'll go down to the 4-hour chart and see if there's anything in there that would give us any hope to see that a bottom might almost be in. Well, again, it's not a very pretty chart, is it? We've broken what was a clear support here at 7,080. As we've discussed that level before, you can see on the 4-hour chart it becomes even more relevant how many times that was touched in this area. And once we broke down, we're now below it. Haven't seen a lot of volume come from breaking down that yet, so this is not a hugely volume-backed sell-off as of yet to see us 3% down. But like I said, I think for me the key level will be here, down at 6,800. If we were to break that, then I think we might likely see quite a lot more volume back the move. But that's, again, it's a little bit of a guess, so let's not live on that. Let's not live or die on that. You know, we wait and see what happens. We watch these areas and see what happens. So the 4-hour chart not showing us anything too much more bullish. We've broken currently below the 30 zone on the RSI, which we hadn't been below since the end of November, 25th of November, hit back down here. So, you know, that's not a great sign for the recovery. But it depends on how this candle closes, because we've still got a whopping 3 hours and 20 minutes left of this 4-hour candle. So we could see a rejection. We will just have to go down another time frame and see if we can find anything else out. Let's go down to the 1 hour and see if we can find anything there on the 1 hour that might help us determine where this might go next. Well, we are seriously oversold on the 1 hour time frame at the moment, down at 21. Of course, we can go lower, but as you can see on this, if I zoom out a little bit further, it's, you know, tiny small peaks that go below this point, but when it does go below this point, we do see some really big sell-offs. So if we were to see this perhaps have a little bounce like we did here on the 21st of November, you can see that the price action bounced slightly, but when we did turn back down on the RSI, the sell-off was quite immense. So that is certainly worth keeping an eye on. One thing also to note on that is our stochastics are right down in the bearish zone as well. What cross do we have at the moment? Well, our leading blue is above our orange, but it's trying its best back to cross down to the downside. This could see further sell-off, but it does look a little bit exhausted at the moment, being so far down in the oversold territory. But like I said, sometimes when you're down in the oversold territory and you see it drop again, that is when you see even bigger sell-offs backed by volume. So yeah, again, not a huge amount of indication here from what Bitcoin's going to do. I'm quite interested in these two levels. Obviously, we're very close to our blue resistance line for the wedge. We've got this support line that we've put in earlier on, which is worth monitoring. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Bitcoin travel within that tightening range for the next day or so. But again, I'm not an oracle. That might not happen, but it wouldn't surprise me. But once we do break one of these two lines, expect some volatility, expect some movement, something to look for. Yeah, so keep an eye on that for sure. You might be wondering to yourself, okay, so is there anything here that might be tradable for me if I was looking for a trade? And I'll show you guys something that came to my attention. I'm going to put this horizontal line in place here for these two wicks. You can see we've had a touch off there and a touch there. And we're also going to put on the ascending trend line that we had, started here, and you can see we've had multiple touches across this support line until we finally broke it. Now, everyone's trading strategy is different, but I look for these formations and I wait for the breakout. So once I saw this ascending triangle developing, I was shaping this up, waiting to see which way it would break, and I act once it's broken the trend line, clearly broken it. And as you can see, when it did clearly break the trend line, that's when we saw the big red candles start to come and the continuation of those. One thing that I would say catches my eyes right now is that we do have a couple of large bounce wicks, so that could be indicative of the fact that we may have found a temporary bottom on the 1 hour chart. But with the way the volatility in the market the way it is, and the current fear and greed index being so close to fear, yeah, I wouldn't be completely convinced this is over. I wouldn't take that as a complete signal to enter. There's just not enough data to act on. This was the trade, in my opinion. This was the trade here out of the ascending triangle. Now we're sort of in uncharted territory again. So we just watch, we monitor, we wait for another opportunity, or certainly that's how I do it. Right, so I think that's enough for Bitcoin for the day. As we close off our analysis, we are at $7,043. Be interesting to see where that goes over the next couple of days. Next, we are going to have a look at the weekly Bitcoin USD longs Bitfinex chart. Now, this is worth paying a bit of attention to. Currently at all-time high. You can see here, this is the weekly chart. We've painted 4 huge green candles in a row, which has blasted us past this all-time high back here in the 26th of March 2018. I can only presume that that's how long. Let's just make sure before I say this with... Yes, absolutely conviction. So as long as Bitfinex have been offering a BTC longs, this is the highest it's ever been. Sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the background. Must be barking at the postman or something like that. But as you can see, we're in uncharted. We're right up here at the top now. Conflicting ideas going around at the moment about what this could mean. There are a couple of potential plays. One is that currently, obviously, even though the fear and greed index is so low, apparently there's a lot of people who are feeling very bullish and opening longs, and that's why they're piling up like this. What's the implications? Well, truth be told, I think that what this paints for me is a picture that there is something brewing. I think there's a good chance that we're going to see volatility return to Bitcoin, regardless of how this long solves. So are we going to see a long squeeze where we just see this, all of a sudden this parabolic move just drop back down? Yeah, it could happen. You can see on a few occasions here in the charts where we have these big run-ups and then big reversals, big run-ups and big reversals. It seems to happen a lot on the... This is slightly different to a price chart, guys. You have to remember that. This is a long chart. So it's about open positions rather than a direct price. So it doesn't look like a normal chart really does. But you can see we have painted 4 really big red candles, and we're seeing our stochastic RSI right up at the top and RSI right up here in the oversold territory. So I guess the most likely thing to happen to this chart is that we're going to see a longs retracement. What that's going to do for the price, it's almost impossible to say at this point. Historically, once the longs have pumped this high, what you've seen is that we've seen the long squeeze, and we've seen the longs drop back off with relative price stability before a run-up. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed this time. As you can see, this is quite an unusual charting pattern on the Bitfinex longs chart. You don't see this. You can see these run-ups, but not quite the same as what we've seen here with these 4 big red candles in a row on the weekly. So really worth keeping an eye on what's going on there, because it's certainly something of interest, if nothing else. Are all these people longing Bitcoin anticipating a huge run-up? Or could this be some sort of new version of a bull trap where the longs get pumped really hard whilst Bitcoin price barely moves, in the hope that retails jump on to make longs, and then all of a sudden the market's shorted and sold and it drops off the other way? Only time is going to tell us that, guys, and I wouldn't really want to place any bet on which way this is going to turn the price, because it would just be a guess and a gamble. As I said to you on the Bitcoin price, we're more interested in finding points and areas of interest and then trying to determine how and where they're going to move to. Okay, so on the subject of big run-ups, let's have a look at Tomo Bitcoin. Tomochain has had an absolutely mammoth day. You can see here on the 4-hour chart, 1, 2, 3 huge green candles. Absolutely massive. Now, I don't know if this is fundamentally driven. The charting pattern, there is a bit of a breakout here. You can see that we take this peak here on the 4 hourly, drag it down, you can see we have a clear resistance line, and we also had a very clear support line. So you could certainly put it down to a breakout of that pattern, but also I think there's a lot of attention going to Tomo fundamentally at the moment, so I think that's also probably part of that. But excellent for all the Tomo holders up there, seeing the coin jump best part of 60, I think it's 61% up on the 24 hours at the moment. Let's have a look. If you'd have traded this breakout of this pattern, how could you have done? Let's say you traded it on the neckline. Well, even if you'd have traded it just on the breakout of that pattern, you could have taken the 68%. And remember, guys, you're never going to manage to buy at the very bottom and sell at the very top. This is just giving you a scope of how much movement has happened since that breakout. So really good to see. Congratulations to all you Tomo holders out there. Well done. Hope you've made some nice profits. Hope you've taken some profits. But of course, it's your decision. It's your calculated risk. I'm just here essentially for entertainment purposes. Next, we go on to ENJ BTC. Now, as you know, ENJ is one of the channel's favourite coins. We monitor this one quite closely because we like the coin, we like what they're doing, and actually, after we had the breakout of this pattern, we've had some really profitable trades available if you'd entered at the right time. And I think it's interesting to point out what's going on with it at the moment. Now, we've had these big run up after the breakout of the formation that we'd watched. As you guys know, we were looking at a massive 130% gain or something on the breakout that we calculated. Anyway, it doesn't matter what that percentage was. What matters is we've had the run up and we've now seen a sell-off. So what I've done is I've used our Fibonacci retracement, I've used the previous peak of that run up and our previous low to give us an idea of any areas of particular interest. And guys, lots of people trade the Fibonacci retracement differently. You could literally go onto YouTube and find like 10 to 100 different people telling you different ways to trade it. I don't personally trade off of it. As you know, I tend to use formations and tightening ranges the most, but I do like to use it to give me a visual representation of how it's performing during that downturn. And you can see that at the moment we've still stayed above that 0.236 area. Quite a vital point. I really do believe if we see a strong close below this again, the downwards trends to continue. So that is at 1,050 Satoshi. So we're really not too far off now at 1,066 at the moment. Remember, it's the daily chart, so we've got plenty of the day to go. But I wouldn't really want to see a daily close below that 1,052 level. It would likely suggest to me that we were going to see more downside. I think a good way to see if we will get that daily close is to go over to the 4 hour and see what we're seeing there. And this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, okay? So now you can start to see these Fibonacci lines playing out a little bit more clearly. And you can start to see that the areas are a little bit more, you can see that they're a bit more effective. You can see here the 0.382 is... it's clearly as a point of support. You support once we broke down hard, and obviously here's where we found our bottom, and then we came back up. We've seen it work as resistance and support, and we've broken back down below it. But what interests me here, guys, is the fact that we've seen our stochastic RSIs pretty much bottoming out, really low volume. The selling volume seems to be getting lower and lower, and we're above that 236 level. So could this be a current bottom for ENJ? Could this be a moment to enter? I think we could even go ahead on this 4 hour chart. I've just seen this. If we were to put a support line in place from that bottom to where we broke back down to, well. We used the top wick as well. That is looking like a tightening range, isn't it, folks? And we know what that means. That means that there is potentially an area of interest in upcoming. So I'm going to be keeping a clean eye on this. If you guys are following Altcoin Boz on Twitter, just to let you know, I will be starting a Journey into Leverage Trading with Jimbo program, where we will be doing just a few minute videos every couple of days, or when it becomes relevant to do so. And I've got $1,000 worth of Bitcoin on a altcoin leverage trading account, and I'm going to be documenting my journey for you. I will be taking trades. It's going to be raw. It's going to be transparent. So win the trade, lose the trade, hit stop loss. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be sharing that with you guys. I'm going to let you know when I'm going to be entering, certainly I'll be letting you know what I'm looking to enter for. Because remember that, as I said to you, my personal trading strategy isn't just to enter for the sake of entering. I will be now monitoring this Enj for potentially my first leverage trade for the journey into leverage, altcoin leverage trading, because I think that we've got some serious movement here off the back of this tightening range once we break either way. And remember, in leverage trading, you can short an asset and long an asset, and I'll be trading derivatives, which means I can apply leverage to a short or a long for an altcoin's price action. So I'm watching this tightening range. If we were to break with volume up, we'll be entering a long, and if we break below with volume down, then I will be looking to enter a short. Now, what I can say is, based on this tightening range, you can see that last time the stochastics were down at the bottom, we touched this support line, we saw us trend all the way back up to the top. So here would be my potential outcomes for the next few 4-hour candles of Enj. I would suggest that if we stay above the 326 and stay above this support line, we will see our stochastic RSI turn back up to the positive, and we will go on to test this upper resistance line. Now, if we break that, then we're on. Things are looking bullish. I expect to see us start running up and testing the rest of these areas of the Fibonacci retracement. In fact, maybe I will even use these Fibonacci zones as my targets for my trade, my take profit target areas for my trades. That I will cover in the videos for that rather than this. But the point, you can get what I'm saying at. I'm waiting for a breakout of this pattern, and we'll see where it goes. Looks interesting, though. There could be something to take here from Enj. And finally, the last altcoin we'll look at today, the last chart we will glance our eyes over, is Matic. Wow, what a reversal, right? It's something we've been covering for the last couple of months now. We were looking to enter back here of the breakout of this triangle. Massive run up, 150% profit if you entered and exited at the right points. Excellent, absolutely brilliant trade. We were monitoring it, and I believe we were looking at the 4-hour chart in the last video, and I think we were saying that a good exit signal would be a clear break of the 7 exponential moving average, which is this green line here, and boy did we break it. Wow, look at that. We closed below it just here at the peak of the December the 9th at 12 o'clock, and within 4 hours we had already dropped. Let's take a quick look. As soon as we crossed over that 7 exponential moving average, within 4 hours we were 8% down. This was your sale area from breaking that 7 exponential moving average, or a stop loss at that point would have been fantastic. You would have secured your highest possible profit. Congratulations if you did that. But 8% down in just 4 hours, and then in a matter of just another 2 or 3 candles, we'd seen Matic drop off best part of 72%, 71%, even higher from the peak. Absolutely mammoth drop. This was huge. Lots of talk going around on crypto Twitter about the causes of this, why this might have happened. Some reports of people saying that team might have sold, and I think this personally, and this is just an opinion piece, I think this is a snowball effect. I've got no clear evidence for this, so don't take me saying this is absolute oracle. But I think that there could have been a big wallet seller up at this point, which caused these big candles. I think this was exaggerated through leverage trading and stop losses, and it just absolutely plummeted. And this is almost one of the things that's given birth to the Journey into Leverage Trading journal, actually, because it's really interesting that you could have leverage trading of up to 20x leverage on such an illiquid asset, and you can see what this could potentially do. And I'm not saying that is absolutely the cause for this. I'm just simply stating what I believe. This big drop off. Please remember, the people who profited weren't just the people who were selling their Matic. The people who were profiting were the people who shorted Matic, and they probably made an absolute ton if that was the case. So just remember, there's always lots of different angles. We live in a crypto space that has lots of different angles that can be added up together for these causalities. So don't just jump on the bandwagon. Oh, it's the team of exit. We don't know that yet. There's no clear proof of that. Someone might have sold a lot, and I think that there were other factors that contributed as well. But what we care about is charting wise. What I'm interested to see is, are we close to a bottom? Well, this is risky, guys. I'm going to remove the Fibonacci retracement because I don't think it's quite as relevant now for this. What I want to take your attention to is this white line, okay? This white line was the neckline that we had in place previously for the breakout. And we're back on it. Is it going to act as support? That's what I'm watching. Because if this is to act as support, again, when I'm thinking in terms of my journey into leverage trading, I have to look at this this range and I have to say, is this going to continue dropping? Possibly. Will I enter a trade right now? No, because until I see some clear evidence that this isn't going to continue dropping, it's just not worth it. I've discounted that wick just to draw this pattern because I think it looks quite tidy. But I'll be watching Matic pretty closely right now, because if this wasn't an exit scam by the team and this was a snowball avalanche effect sell-off, I can tell you that there are some people looking at this right now thinking that this is a very cheap price to get in. I'll be watching it. If we break out of this pattern, certainly this upper resistance line is the one that I'll be watching, less so the bottom. If we drop down below this, I'll take this off my scope for the time being because I won't be looking to trade something that just continues to sell off. So even with the leverage trading, it's just so unpredictable. But with this clear resistance line that we see develop from this wick here and this candle here, if we break above this and we see a bit of bullish momentum on our other indicators, cross that 7 exponential moving average. Listen, I'll be looking to try and take a trade up to the 50 exponential moving average. That could be there, even if it gets rejected again. It's all about taking profits at the right time. But remember, that's totally my approach, and you know, everyone's individual. And finally, to conclude today's video, I want to share with you the details of our ongoing giveaway. The giveaway runs Saturday to Saturday, and the prize which is available is one of the crypto tag security devices. Now, this is a nice device so that you can secure your private keys, hopefully a little bit more indestructible than the pieces of paper that come with the Nano S. So it's a nice extra layer of security for you to secure your private keys. Really easy competition to get involved with. All you have to do is be subscribed to Altcoin Buzz on YouTube and leave a comment in this video or any of the videos this week. Now remember, if you were to leave a comment in every video this week, you would multiply your chances of winning. So really easy for you to get involved and really easy for you to multiply your chances of winning. If you've enjoyed the video today, guys, please put a like on the video, as that helps to gain a little bit more traction. And as I always say, I'll see you later on down the trend line. Bye.